Well, happy Tuesday. It is a post-Memorial Day program here, Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop, and we've got a lot to tackle this week with the final week of legislative session. Our taxpayers are going to see higher taxes by the end of the week. We're going to see the most expensive spending plan in state history approved. Are some other things going to resurface, like maybe the Homeschool Act or possibly the Safe Gun Storage? Is that going to advance before the end of the week? Tons of things to tackle here with Illinois in Focus Daily. Wake up each and every weekday morning and join us as we go live to break down things you need to know. You can catch the podcasts wherever you get podcasts if you can't watch live. But you can also go to the website, thecentersquare.com, for the Illinois page. You'll see the latest headlines and things to consider heading into the final week of legislative session. But go to the website and sign up for the newsletter where you can get that for free. It gets into your inbox each and every weekday morning, and you can read those headlines, but also wake up with us here with Illinois in Focus Daily. Some of the things we're going to tackle, we've got to, of course, take a look at the 160 plus bills or so that have been passed so far by the legislature. Total so far, 164. We'll see just how many hundreds they pass this week. You've got both the House and the Senate that are in today through Saturday, potentially. So we could have late nights all throughout this week as they line up dozens of bills and start passing them out of the chambers and getting them to the governor's desk. So the Senate did come in yesterday. We'll just touch on that a little bit, but we've also got to take a look at some of what could possibly come out of the U.S. Supreme Court today. If you look at the U.S. Supreme Court's calendar, they do have orders that they're going to be issuing today at 9:30. Yesterday being the Memorial Day holiday, obviously, they didn't have an order list that they put out, so today is going to be that day for the U.S. Supreme Court to release an orders list. Is it going to include the Snopes case, the case challenging Maryland's gun ban? They've been sitting on that for like 15 weeks now. There's also another case concerning elections that could impact Illinois. We'll see if we can find out to have that story at some point. And it's the lawsuit that Congressman Mike Bost brought against the state of Illinois for counting election ballots up to 2 weeks after the election. So these are just some of the things that that could be making news today in Illinois. So plenty to tackle, but coming back, we've got to get to what's going on in the legislature, right? Are we going to see more tax increases? Are we going to see the highest spending plan in state history when it comes to your state budget? Well, stay tuned. We'll get to that coming up here with Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and wake up with us each and every weekday morning for Illinois in Focus Daily.
Have to make some very, very tough choices this year because Donald Trump and Republicans in Congress have passed this big bill that's going to hurt people in Illinois.
What are those tough choices? And does that mean tax increases coming to the land of Lincoln for the new fiscal year starting July 1st? It is Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Wake up with us each and every weekday morning where you can join the live chat and take part in the conversation. Or you can catch the program here in full replay on YouTube or with the podcast. Just search Illinois in Focus. You'll find it, or you can get segments of the show. So we've been tracking what's going on at the Illinois legislature. We're in the final week. Okay, it's Tuesday. It's after Memorial Day, and you had the Senate in yesterday. They recognized Memorial Day and for what it is. Then they gavelled out. That allowed them to get to town so that they could start work in earnest for the rest of the week. But it also allowed for them to get their their per diem, which I think is like $170 plus $190 per day per member. Some of them even get travel numbers for traveling to the Capitol. So Senate was in yesterday. They didn't advance anything. But all of last week and this week, we're seeing bills lined up to pass to the governor. And it's the final few days of legislative session. All last week, they passed a total of 164 bills that are ready for the governor's desk. We reviewed some of those last week. I anticipate they will be approving dozens more. How many? Potentially hundreds more. We could see, 80 bills passed out of both chambers today. We could see 80 bills passed out of both chambers tomorrow. Where exactly is the budget? We haven't seen that yet. And that's something that I think is on a lot of people's minds because we could possibly see tax increases. There have been talks about a $6 billion tax increase. The Illinois Revenue Alliance looking at taxing corporations more, or going after investment income or certain types of other taxes to raise $6 billion. And they specifically line out that money would be used to help with immigrant services. It would be used to fund other programs and such. So you've got that idea that's been floated. Are we going to see a kind of a cherry picking of different tax increase ideas as part of that? There's also been the idea of increasing service fee taxes. Illinois does not tax services right now. So that haircut that I need to get sometime this week, if it's possible. So that, nail job that you might buy for your wife as a gift card, or you're hiring a lawn crew, or having a plumber come in. I mean, these are different types of services. Even streaming services could get taxed. That's another idea that's been floated. We haven't really seen any substantive debate happen in committees on these tax ideas. It's all been in the media, environment, in that atmosphere. But are we going to see this week those types of things surface? And when exactly are we going to see those things surface? It's a great question. But as of the total transparency for taxpayers, the governor did propose a $55 billion spending plan in February, with broad outlines of where he's going to have money going to education and pensions, some of the largest obligations that Illinois has, but then all the other programs that there are. Several weeks ago, Republicans decried what they said were $1 billion of taxpayer funds going to non-government organizations. And is that, being accountable? So you've got that in the mix as well. Well, last week I asked State Representative Daniel Didich to kind of give us an update of where we're at on the budgeting process. He's a Democrat from Buffalo Grove. He says they're essentially doing what they've done the past 7 years, where he says they've balanced the budget and they've got credit upgrades under Governor J.B. Pritzker's budget, and the Democrats working with their working groups behind closed doors to craft the budget before bringing it out last minute. Where's the transparency in that? I asked him about that.
It's the same process that's produced 6 consecutive balanced budgets. It's the same process that's earned our state 9 credit rating upgrades.
But you've also got other problems with the structural debt of pensions, and now we've got almost $750 million cliff for the transit authorities, more money going into education, but not having the best outcomes. There's a whole laundry list of issues. High corporate taxes, not being competitive to attract more investment, energy production. I mean, all these economic factors work into it as well. But Republicans, they're in the super minority at the State House. They feel shut out. Here's Noreen Hammond talking about the budget process and how Republicans really haven't been part of it.
I had a couple of meetings with some of the budgeteers from the House Democratic Caucus up until a couple of weeks ago. We had a couple of meetings, they're very high level, 10,000 foot, if you will. Nothing of any substance.
Nothing of any substance. And one of the other things I asked the Republicans, and we may talk a little bit more about this tomorrow, is member initiatives. These are special carve-outs in the budget for certain member districts. So a legislator says, hey, I've got this group here that needs this money. I'm going to request it as part of my $1.5 million allotment. But Republicans say they're not given that chance to get those district programs funded in their Republican districts. It seems to only be senators that are given that line item to say you've got rather Democrats to get that line item. You got $1.5 million for each state representative and $3 million for each state senator to have in their own district coming out of the budget. Republicans say, though, that those are a lot of times empty promises. They're given that line item, but it's never fully funded. And then you get into that whole mess as well. But State Representative Brad Halbrook on the House floor last week, he talked about how Illinois needs to really look at what's going through the federal government, the so-called Big Beautiful Bill, and all of the various things that are in that. Moving through Congress, right? It's already passed the House. We talked about the state and local tax deduction aspect of it and how that could help Illinoisans, but some worry it may also enable the state to keep its taxes high because SALT allows for you to deduct high taxes in states like Illinois, California, New York, and such, but you can deduct high taxes off of your federal tax return, so that could possibly benefit Illinoisans. But again, it may enable the state to just keep their taxes high if there's an opportunity to write that off from federal taxes. Another conversation that can go into a different direction as well as the whole rich state, poor state, and is Illinois a paying state or is it a taker state? And that's a conversation worth having, I guess. But ultimately, you've got a variety of other things in that so-called Big Beautiful Bill. You've got the issue of the non-citizen immigrant health care subsidies and how the federal government's essentially going to be saying that if states are going to fund this, it's going to have to be using state tax dollars, not federal tax dollars. We'll see how that impacts Illinois. But other things like the estate tax being impacted in the Big Beautiful Bill that Republicans call it coming out of Congress. You've got the no tax on tips, the no tax on overtime, no tax on auto loans or interest. So we'll see what happens with all that. But State Representative Brad Halbrook highlighting one aspect in particular, saying that the Illinois legislature needs to follow suit.
But while the federal government is moving in the right direction, Illinois is stuck in the past. We are only one of a few remaining states that still impose an estate tax, and our exemption is far lower at just $4 million. If Washington can recognize the harm of estate taxes and take action to shield families, Illinois should follow suit. At a minimum, we should match the federal exemption levels, but I believe we should go even further and eliminate the Illinois estate tax altogether.
And we're going to
So that, again, was State Representative Brad Halbrook talking about wanting to eliminate the state tax in Illinois altogether. That's another part of the Illinois Revenue Alliance's $6 billion tax increase, which had a whole bunch of different things in it that would change as far as the tax code. But one of them was taking Illinois' $4 million threshold for the estate tax to kick in and lowering it to $2 million. So it would be even more of a burden for small businesses and farmers alike who want to hand off their property to their next generation when they pass away. So there have been efforts, though, bipartisan efforts at the State House to increase that threshold from $4 million to $6 million. Well, Halbrook's proposing getting rid of it altogether. So I asked, again, Daniel Didich about the possibility of tax increases. You got this long list of all kinds of tax increases that have been floated. What are you guys talking about behind closed doors? What are we going to see before the end of this week, the final week of the legislative session?
And we're going to have to make some very, very tough choices this year because Donald Trump and Republicans in Congress have passed this big bill that's going to hurt people in Illinois.
So Didich used expletives to describe the bill that's moving through Congress, not as a big, beautiful bill, but as a big censor tone bill. He said that 3 times when I asked him about transparency for taxpayers in Illinois when we're going to see the budget plans and what kinds of sacrifices or tough decisions are going to have to be made. Like, people can interpret that as tax increases. it's going to be an interesting week. There's no question. So hopefully you'll stay with us and stay informed as to what's going on here in Illinois as we track the final week of spring session. And is this going to lead to us coming back in the summertime? There have been people already speculating that because of this bill that's running through Congress. Is it going to cause the state legislature here in Illinois to reassess how it's getting funding? Is it going to be the big beautiful bill that does that, or is it going to be more action from the DOJ withholding money, or is the state of Illinois going to have education funds withheld from the federal government for DEI or for the transgender sports issue or whatever the case may be? We'll be tracking it. So get the headlines at thecentersquare.com. Wake up with us each and every weekday morning here with Illinois in Focus Daily. Happy Tuesday. I hope you guys had a wonderful Memorial Day. And 64 bills have been approved by the Illinois General Assembly thus far. Where we're going this week in the final week of legislative session, it's going to be fascinating, and I hope you wake up with us each and every weekday morning and get the latest. So, I do this from time to time to give you guys a bit of a tutorial on how I go about researching the program and writing the news and such. ILGA.gov. All right, it's the Illinois General Assembly website. Illinois GA General Assembly.gov. Go there and you'll be able to track along with us, right? I mean, listen, I get paid to do this every day. And if you've got free time on your hands, if some of you guys sip the coffee in the morning and you want to tool around with some things and look at state government and what's going on, you can kind of track this. And then you can wake up with us and we can compare notes, I guess. So if you go to ILGA.gov, you'll see today's session schedule, right? The Senate's in today at 11. The House is in today at 11. You've got schedules in the Senate and the House, and these will allow you to see what kinds of committee hearings are coming up. So for today, for instance, we've got several committee hearings in the afternoon. So senators are going to come in at 11 o'clock, and then they'll do some afternoon committees. They talk about a variety of different bills, like, for instance, in the Labor Committee, we've got 2 bills they're set to talk about with subject matter. So you can go through and find all of that. But what about catching up on everything that's happened? Go to Legislative Reports under Reports and Inquiry. If you go there, you'll see a long list. Now, keep in mind, if you start clicking around on this, it's going to have pop-ups. No, they're not pop-ups asking you for your email and, check your credit score or anything like that. They're just a pop-up because the report is generated in a new tab. So you might have to elect through your browser to allow pop-ups from ILGA.gov. So you go through and you can see the date inquiry report, which I use a lot to look at what's happened in the previous day. But you can also find bills pending governor action. Now, these are bills that have been sent to the governor. Right now, there's none. So the bills that passed, the 168 bills or so that passed last week, have not been sent to the governor yet. They're ready to be sent to the governor, but they're not there yet. So we'll go back and look at House bills passed both houses and Senate bills passed both houses. This is a cumulative report of all of the House bills that have passed both houses. And we'll pull up that report here, and you can see there's a whole bunch of bills here. These are bills that have passed both chambers that originated in the House. So 142 bills so far in this General Assembly have passed both chambers. Most of them just listed, passed both houses. So you've got 140 some odd measures that the Senate has passed that the House has also passed. Now, what about Senate bills passed both chambers? That's going to be a much shorter list here. Well, I guess not. It's 119 bills. So we're looking at like 300 bills already just from all of that. And these are measures that have passed so far this year, not just in the past 2 weeks. So we're going to be seeing a lot of different bills pass over the next 1 week here in the final week of legislative session. But I just wanted to kind of give you that little bit of an overview of where you can find legislation that has advanced. Now, there's a lot of bills at ilga.gov. I mean, if you go, let's head back to the website just to show you. And I hope this is also educational for you to understand that, you might see some stories online spreading around on your social media about this bill is going to do this, and there's a lot of, fervor around it. Sometimes those bills don't go anywhere, right? And let me just show you. Bills and resolutions. We'll click on this, and this is, just to give you an idea, there have been over 2,660 Senate bills filed. 2,666 Senate bills have been filed so far this year. 2,666. Not all of those are going anywhere. Most of those are going nowhere. House bills, over 4,000 House bills have been filed. So you're looking at nearly 7,000 bills that have been filed in both chambers. Not all of those, and again, I'll say most of those, going nowhere. They will possibly approve 500 plus bills out of the chambers to go to the governor's desk. What are some of those things? We've seen a lot so far. We've seen measures impacting the workplace, impacting employers, impacting landlords, impacting drivers, senior drivers in particular. We've seen things impacting schools, higher education, law enforcement, the criminal justice system. We've seen a variety of different measures impacting school buses and local regulations and all of that. So we're going to see these measures, and they're going to be approved over the summer by the governor once they get to his desk. But we've got to get through this last week where all kinds of things could happen. One thing we're watching for, the Homeschool Act. Is that going to come back? That was a highly opposed measure that State Representative Tara Costa Howard had, and she said that she wasn't going to bring it before a deadline, but you still got questions as to, is it possible to come through a shell bill later on this week and ultimately get across the finish line before the end of session? It's possible. We've seen other controversial legislation do just that. What about the Senate Bill 8? It has passed the Senate. It's queued up in the House, and we'll see just exactly where that goes. And that measure would require you to, as a firearm owner, lock up your firearm in a safe or with some kind of padlock in a house or any kind of place that there might be somebody who is not allowed to be around a firearm, and there could be penalties with that. And also there could be penalties with if you don't report lost and stolen firearms within a certain prescribed time, and that could lead to the loss of your FOID card. So whole host of things could happen with that. We'll be watching. But what about internet gambling? This is something I've heard time and again happen at the State House with conversations that come up, bills get filed. We've expanded gambling quite a bit. There really hasn't been much conversation as to this particular idea of internet casinos, but it's been a topic of conversation in a variety of places for some time. So online casino measure, something else that could still possibly come up. Keith Hamilton, he is with the Illinois State Bowling Proprietors Association. I talked with him about where this is, and they oppose it because they have video gaming terminals, he believes, that would be harmed if they expanded gambling to allow internet gambling.
Well, we're concerned about larger companies making it, promoting the availability of individuals of all ages to just gamble out of their bedrooms in their pajamas. We have moral issues with that, first of all, because we're concerned about addiction. And also, that's important revenue streams for our bowling center operators, because what they do with that extra dollars that come in from iGaming is they reinvest it into their establishments, not only to pay employees, not only to keep prices down, but to build and improve their bowling centers, to improve their operations.
So you've got the idea of having more gambling expansion. We've already had a lot of gambling expansion. State Representative Bob Rita has been at the forefront of helping expand some gambling, and even talked about in 2019 when I chatted with him briefly about how, yeah, they did that, and they allowed for more video gaming terminals, more casinos. Is it now time to expand it to internet gambling? He says people are trying to get it, but we might need to take a step back and reevaluate all of this.
I don't know where we're at now. It's May. This is the time of the year where you start seeing different items that maybe didn't have legs, potentially could. But I think we're still a little early in this stage to see where it's at.
Well, now it's the final week of session. Are we going to see it pop up? Because, again, there's shell bills, right? All the 7,000 bills that they filed, hundreds are considered shell bills, and dozens have already been pushed over to the other chamber. So all they have to do is go and take that Senate bill that's now in the House, gut it, replace it, pass it in the House, back to the Senate for concurrence. They don't have to go through the entire process to get something across the finish line. So is that going to happen with internet gambling, possibly? More from Bob Rita.
Again, when we did 2019, we expanded gaming pretty large expansion. They said new casinos throughout the state, increased betting, increased the amount of video poker, sports betting. So this would be, a big change to what we did in 19. So we need to look at it very closely and see what cause and effects it actually has. Not just looking at, well, we could raise money. What does it do in the big picture? And is it the right policy for the state of Illinois? Increasing more gaming?
That's a good question. We're going to hear any more of that this week. Several weeks ago, some Chicago officials were taken to task over a measure that would allow for Chicago to actually have video gaming terminals, because believe it or not, Chicago doesn't have video gaming terminals. You look all over the rest of the state, though, and video gaming terminals are proliferating around every corner. Here in Springfield, for instance, you go up and down the street, and video gaming parlors are taking the place of, payday loan places. So you've got that happening all across the state, but not in Chicago. Chicago officials pushing back on the idea of getting video gaming terminals, and that conversation has been had, but we haven't heard much about the internet gambling issue. You also have another proprietor of a bowling arena. This is Arena Lane's owner in Oakland, Illinois, Bill Brennan, talking about how he's worried that the state might find some way to pigeonhole this together and make it to where they can get more tax revenue by expanding gambling online, and that's going to hurt local small mom and pop businesses.
For the last few years, we've successfully been able to table it or defeat this bill. But right now, the state is looking at such a bad budget shortfall, they're looking for any revenue streams that they can possibly get to try to balance this budget. Even if they do not understand, like I had said, that they're going to cannibalize a revenue stream that's already been invested in by the private sector and the public sector as well.
So are we going to see that pop up? Not sure. Something to watch for. That's what I'm going to be doing at the State House. What's going to come out of Shell Bill season? Because that's where we're at right now. We're in Shell Bill season. In the final week of legislative session, it's only Tuesday. They're in today. They're in tomorrow. They're in Thursday. They're in Friday. They're in Saturday. So maybe I do a live show Saturday. Maybe I do a live show Sunday just to keep you updated. And then maybe I take a few days off. All right. Buckle in. It's going to be a good time. Hopefully you stay informed. Get the headlines in your inbox. Getting the newsletter at thecentersquare.com. Wake up with us here on YouTube each and every weekday morning for Illinois in Focus, and check out the podcast. Where you get podcasts, just search Illinois in Focus. All right, so already looking here at the live chat, and people are saying that there's no Snopes case in the U.S. Supreme Court order lists. Go to the U.S. Supreme Court website. It is now after 8:30, and that means 9:30 their time. Court releasing their order list at 9:30 their time. It's already out, and they say no Snopes case. Snope. Nothing. Nada. So, you've got that from the live chat there. Again, pretty lively group. Let's see here. Illinois. Here's a one Illinois case. Mahomes, Kvados versus Illinois. Not sure on that one. Shelton, Sean versus Illinois. What else we got here? I'll have to take a look at these and see what's going on in those cases. But regardless, it's going to be an interesting week in the Second Amendment space as well, because you do have a hearing coming up tomorrow, I believe, in the Schoenthal case. That's the case challenging the state's ban of allowing people to carry firearms concealed on mass transit. And that's in the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals. So that's going to be happening, I believe, tomorrow. So we may have to preview that and then unpack that the following day. Big week ahead. Not just what's going on with the state legislature, but everything else, and how Congress is going to be impacting Illinois, the DOJ impacting Chicago. I mean, there's a lot going on. Appreciate you guys being here. Got to get out of here, head to the Capitol, and get this day going. So be with us tomorrow morning for more Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Follow me anywhere. Just search Bishop on Air and get this program each and every weekday morning live here on YouTube. Follow, subscribe, hit that notification bell. It is Illinois in Focus with the Center Square.
Thank you.